Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'm bringing you today's video. Just had a few things I wanted to go over real fast. First, our usual shout out of appreciation to all of our patrons out there. We appreciate all those tips and support, and hope you guys are enjoying the videos that we put out for you guys exclusively every single week, including the How to Deal Craps instructional set that is ongoing. And if you're curious about it, go ahead and check the description of the video down below. And also, I wanted to go over, we've had a couple of questions about the this little neon light thing that we've been putting on some of our other videos. So if anybody's interested in one of these, just shoot us an email at sincityliving.lv@gmail.com. And so I did another test of our live stream, another attempt to do the live stream. So I now know that I have the right equipment, the right camera, the right programming, able to get all of that done. Unfortunately, what I did discover is that my computer was not strong enough, was not powerful enough to be able to encode and upload it as an actual live stream. So I'm going to continue tweaking with that, although it may turn out that I'm just going to have to wait until I can afford to buy a newer, more powerful computer for that. So that will be on the list. So it does look like live streaming may not be as upcoming as I was hoping. It's going to take us a little bit of time to generate that up. And otherwise, please make sure you email us with any questions, strategies, anything you would like us to video. We love shooting these videos for you guys. If not, I'm going to go straight into today's video. Welcome to the second video in our How to Play Craps series. We have, it's kind of a companion series to our How to Deal Dice series, where as a former instructor that used to teach dealers how to deal, we put probably 95% of the course into videos, and that is exclusive to all of our patrons. We put up one or two videos every week or two, but we get a lot of questions from people just on the most basic stuff on how to play craps. So I figure, since people don't go back through and watch all 400 videos that we have to date, that I would just start this series on how to play craps and just slowly build it out from the most basic stuff. So the first volume, we talked about the most basic bet, which was the pass line bet, and how it wins, how it loses on the come out roll, and then how it wins, how it loses once there is a point set. And that bet is, like I said, the most basic bet. That is basically the starter bet. That's what everybody plays when they first start out, and it's what probably 90% of all craps players play anyway on their regular craps playing. So today we are going to expand upon that a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about the pass line bet, especially the odds, because the odds are one of the best bets in the casino. We're going to talk about how the odds work in a little bit more depth, and then we're going to talk about possibly going to the other side. And then we'll talk very briefly about the field. Field bet is generally the second bet that people start learning. So with the pass line bet, as we know, 2, 3, and 12, it loses on the come out roll. 7 or 11, it wins. Now, once a point is established, and the point does not matter for demonstration purposes, once the point is established, now the 2, the 3, the 11, and the 12 no longer matter. They're neutral. No harm, no foul as far as that bet is concerned. There are, of course, other bets on the table that are affected by those, but we're talking about the most basic bet. So then we encourage people to place odds. Odds are the bet that goes right behind the pass line bet, and it is betting additional money on whatever point is marked. There is no house edge to odds. They pay true odds. So what does that mean? Well, as we discussed in the first video, of the 36 combinations of the dice, 6 of them are 7s, which means 6 of the 36 combinations will cause the point to be lost, to lose, cause the shooter to lose. Each individual point has their own set of odds. So the 6 and 8 have the same. There are 5 ways for an 8 to roll. So there would be 5 ways for this person to win, 6 ways for them to lose. Same thing if the point were a 6. There are 5 ways for a 6 to roll. So both the 6 and the 8 both have 5 ways to roll, and they both have 6 ways to lose. So what does that mean? That means on the odds back there, since there is no house edge, that means that for every $5 you bet, you will win $6. So if a 6 were to roll, the pass line bet would be paid even money, but that $10 in odds back there would be paid $12. So what about the 5 and 9? So the 5 and 9, there are 4 ways to win, 4 ways for a 9 to roll, 4 ways for a 5 to roll. There are, again, 6 ways to lose. So now your odds are 4 to 6, or 2 to 3. 2 to 3. 2 ways to win, 3 ways to lose, basically. You are 2 to 3 favorite. And what that means is that for every 2 that you bet in odds, you will be paid 3. It's basically blackjack. So standard blackjack, 3-2 blackjack, not the real cheap 6-5 blackjack some places pay. So that means that if the point were 9 and the shooter rolled a winner, rolled a 9, they would be paid that even money on that flat pass line bet, and then that $10 in odds would be paid $15. Every 2 gets paid 3. Okay? So what about the 4 and the 10? Well, there are 3 ways to roll a 10. There are 3 ways to roll a 4. Once again, there are 6 ways to lose. So 3 to 6 odds, or 1 to 2. So what that means is those true odds in the back will be paid 2 to 1. If a 10 were to roll, they would be paid the $10 even money for the pass line bet, the flat bet, and then that $10 in odds would be paid $20, $20. Now, the thing with odds is every casino will have a set maximum amount of odds. It'll be posted on the table. If you're on the strip, most likely you're going to see 3, 4, 5 odds. It'll say 3, 4, 5 odds. All right, that is kind of a standardized odds on the strip for a number of different reasons. A lot of which comes down to simplicity and speed. There's some interesting tricks when it comes to 3, 4, 5 odds that come into play for dealers that just make paying and calculating out maximums and stuff like that super, super, super easy. From a player perspective, it doesn't really matter aside from the fact that you have to know what your max is. 3, 4, 5 odds. Now your minimum odds is always going to be the table minimum. So if you're on a $10 minimum bet table, the minimum amount of odds you may bet is $10. It does not matter how large your pass line bet is. It does not affect your minimum bet on odds. You can have a $100 pass line bet and choose to only do $10 in odds, and that is perfectly fine. There are some players that are under this misconception that they have to match their pass line bet. That's not true. Or to double it or whatever. That's not true. All you have to do is make sure you are at least table minimum. Now your maximum odds is going to be based upon your flat bet. That's what the pass line bet is called, or don't pass, which we'll get into. So the pass line bet, if you have a $10 pass line bet and you have 3, 4, 5 odds, and that always comes from outside in, so 3, 4, 5 odds. What that means is 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. That means if the point were a 10 or a 4, your maximum odds on a $10 flat pass line bet would be $30, because 3 times that 10. On a 5 and 9, it would be 4 times, so 4 times 10 is 40. You would be allowed 40 odds on a $10 flat bet. And then on the 6 and 8, 5 times 10 is 50. You would be allowed $50 worth of odds on a $10 pass line bet. Now, if you max out your odds, say you've got your 50, and you want to bet more, there's a number of different ways you can do it, and we'll get into the placing the point on the line in a further video. At its most basic, what you can do is you can increase your pass line bet. When there's a point marked, you can always increase your pass line bet. You can always make it bigger, which is why if you come up to the table after there's a point, you are allowed to just come straight down on the pass line and then do odds. Now, there is a better bet if you're coming in after the point, but you are allowed to do this. So you're always allowed to add to your pass line bet. Well, if you add to your pass line bet got bigger, now your odds get bigger. If you have a $15 pass line bet, now you can do 75 in odds. So you can always, if you want to increase your odds, you can always increase your flat bet. Is that the absolute best bet? No. There is a slightly better bet, but it's not a terrible bet in any way, shape, or form. Now, the tricky thing is, if you increase your pass line bet, you're allowed to. But what you can never do, you can never make it smaller. You can never, if let's say I've increased that pass line bet, then a roll or two later, I go, yeah, I'm not so confident in the shooter anymore, and you want to go back down to $10. You cannot do that. Your bet is locked in. It's called a contract bet. Once you place that bet, it is contracted as long as there is a point marked. A win-loss must occur. A decision must be made. So, That is the max odds on a 3, 4, 5. Now, when you're off the strip, you're going to come across all kinds of interesting things. 10 times odds, 20 times odds, the occasional 100 times odds, the occasional double odds. Double odds is very, very old school. 10 times odds is exactly what it sounds like. It doesn't matter what the point is. You can do 10 times your flat bet in odds. If you have a $10 pass line bet, you can do 100 in odds. 20 times odds, same thing. If you have a $10 pass line bet, you can do 200 in odds. Doesn't matter what the point is. 10 times and 20 times are very simple. 100 times is, of course, even easier. So, that is odds in a slightly more detailed description. Now, why is it that you can always make your pass line bet bigger but cannot make it smaller or take it away once there's a point? Because the odds favor the house. On the come out roll, the pass line bet is a 2-to-1 favorite when you take out these numbers. Aside from setting a point, any other roll is a win-loss condition. 2, 3, 7, 11, 12. Right? These set a point, start the game. Anything else, win-loss condition. 8 of those combinations of the dice that are remaining are winners. 4 of them are losers. So it's a 2-to-1 favorite to win if a point is not set. But once a point is set, does not matter what the point is, there are always more ways to roll a 7 than there are to roll the point. So the pass line bet, it actually favors the house once there is a point set. So of course they are not going to allow someone to take down their bet. If they allow people to take down their bet, then people would just bet $100 pass line bets on the come out, and then once there was a point, they would take it away because they're a 2-to-1 favorite to win on the non-point setting numbers, and then outside of that, if they could just take it away, then they're good. They would just basically be a 2-to-1 favorite to win. So the casinos wouldn't exist if that were to occur. So that is contracted in as long as there's a point. Now, that's the pass line. So what is this? Now, people that don't know the game very well will look at it and call it the don't pass bar. It's not the don't pass bar. It's the don't pass. It's the don't pass bar 12. Bar 12. Kind of an old school phrase, but bar means except. Don't pass except the 12. So you got your pass line, you've got your don't pass. The don't pass just flips from the pass line. If the pass line wins, the don't pass loses. If the pass line loses, the don't pass wins. Except for the 12. It bars the 12. So what that means is, on a come out roll, 2, 3, and 12, the crap numbers, this loses. 2 and 3, this wins. 12, nothing happens. It's a push. It bars the 12, except the 12. 7 and 11, this wins. 7, 11, this loses. So what that means is that instead of being a 2-to-1 favorite to win on a non-point setting roll, it's actually 3 to 8. 3 ways to win, since the 12 is exempted. 3 ways for it to win, 8 ways for it to lose on the come-out roll. The come-out roll is the most dangerous spot for a don't pass bet. That barring the 12 is where the house edge gets built into it. Now, once a point is set, does not matter what the point is, now that don't pass is favored. It now favors the house, now favors the player, because there are more ways to roll a 7 than there are to roll any other number. So that bet is always in the favor of the player once there is a point marked. Now here's the thing. That is a bet that's allowed on the table. That is a bet that anybody can play. It is not betting with the house. People seem to they're under this misconception that is betting with the house. Let me ask people out there, if you go to roulette and you play red, you're playing red. Let's say 7 people on the table are playing red, and someone else comes up and plays black. Are they playing with the house? Are they betting with the house? No, they're not. They're betting on the black. They're betting on which way they think that the ball is going to go. This is betting on which way you think the dice are going to roll. That's all it is. If it was betting with the house, the bet would not exist. There is a house edge built into that bet, just like any other bet. So what about odds? Because with a pass line bet, you can take odds, right? You can bet additional money. What about with a don't pass? You can. You can take odds. It's not called odds anymore. It's called a lay. Now, a lay must be proper. Must be proper. Really good dealers can pay improper lays, but really good dealers are also going to catch it before it comes time to pay it and make the player fix it because they want to allow improper lays. So it's an interesting catch-22 in that the weaker a dealer is, the less likely they are to catch it. Unfortunately, the weaker they are, the less likely they are to know how to pay it as well. So lays must be proper. One of the things that really frustrates dealers are players that play the don't pass but actually have no clue whatsoever how it works. They don't understand the odds, they don't understand the lays, they don't understand what they're supposed to be betting. It's really, really frustrating because it slows the game down because we have to constantly stop, double check all their bets, tell them what they need to do to fix it. They always want to argue with us or question it, and then they'll fix it. So with a lay, lays are just the reverse of odds. You actually have to bet more to win less, because like with odds, you are the underdog. Like on an 8, you have 5 ways to win, 6 ways to lose if you're on the pass line bet. So if you're on the don't pass, you actually have 6 ways to win, 5 ways to lose. So on the pass line, odds, every 5 pays you 6. Flip it. Every 6 pays you 5 on lays. Now lays, instead of going behind, because you can't go behind, that's where there's another bet, odds will go behind, lays will go next to. Always closer to the dealer as you sweep around. So it'll be on this side. It's not on this side. It's always towards the dealer. And it's what we call heeled off. Heeled off. Okay. So for instance, I could do a $30 lay, and it would be heeled off. Of course, I could do it with a green and red as well, but I wanted to show you guys the heel off. Lays are always heeled off. They must be heeled off. So you're betting more to win less. On a 5 and 9, you are a 2-3 or 3-2 favorite. So your lays must be divisible by 3. Every 3 pays you 2. Your lays must be divisible by 3. On the 4 and 10, you're a 2-1 favorite. You're going to win half of whatever you lay. Your lays must be even. It's pretty simple. Every 2 gets you 1. So that is, some people call it the dark side. Most people call it the dark side. That's playing the other side of the table. That's all it is. It's playing the other side of the dice. Which way do you think the dice are going to go? You are not betting against the shooter any more than someone that bets red is betting against the player betting black on roulette. That doesn't make sense. You're just betting on how you think the dice are going to go. That's it. That's plain and simple. Which way do you think the dice are more likely to go? Right? If you play Bach and you play banker and someone else plays player, are they betting against you? No, that would be stupid. They are just betting which way they think the cards are going to go. If someone bets the don't pass, they're just betting which way they think the dice are going to go. It astonishes me how many people get really offended at someone that plays the don't pass, saying, oh, they're betting against me, and yet if there's a whole string of 7 outs, that player that was just complaining will switch to the don't pass. So all of a sudden it's okay for them, but not okay for other people. It doesn't make sense. So all you're doing is you're betting which way you think the dice are going to go. That's it, period. Now, as I said, one thing. So with the pass line bet, since you can always make it bigger, but you cannot make it smaller, the don't pass reverses. You can always make it smaller. You can take your pass line bet away, but you cannot make it bigger. I could not add to it, but I can take it away. Now when it comes to table max, when it comes to lays, it's best if you're going to bet table max to ask the dealers, because for a lot of people it can get pretty confusing. If we were on a 3, 4, 5 table, it's really, really easy. Your maximum lay is always 6 times your flat bet. But when you're somewhere else, let's say 10 times odds. Well, the 10 times odds, your maximum lay is going to depend upon the number. For instance, on a 9, $10, and the way it works is you're allowed to win whatever the most odds you would be allowed to take if you're on the other side. For instance, if I have a $10 don't pass, well, a $10 pass line bet on the 9 at 10 times odds would be allowed to take $100 in odds, right? That means that on the don't pass, my lay is allowed to win $100. So, $150. $150. And there we go. That would be my maximum lay. Now, as I promised, the last thing I'm going to talk about very briefly is the field. The field is not something you want to play every single roll. If you play the field every single roll, you are going to lose. There are 16 ways to win. There are 20 ways to lose. It looks great, but again, there are 36 combinations of the dice, and only 16 of them fall into the field. Now, it does help that you have your pay double on the 2 and pay triple on the 12 at most places, and some places only play you double. But The field is not something you bet every single roll. It's just not. Some people do win in the field. We call them field chunkers, but they also don't tend to chunk every single roll. They just throw in a big chunk every so often and just get lucky, like anything else. You're just trying to get lucky. It's kind of like throwing a big chunk onto, a corner bet on roulette. Every so often, go for it. You might get lucky. You might hit it. It's always nice. So the field pays even money, except on the 2 and 12, and it's going to pay either double or triple depending on the house. And it's a one-roll bet. It wins or loses the very next roll. It does not stay up. And that's it. That's the field tends to be the next bet that people learn because it's extremely basic. Extremely basic. Now, frequent craps players and dealers don't generally play the field all that often, mostly as a fun thing or just a little additional thing we do here and there, because it pays even money. There's so many bets on the craps table that do not pay even money and are not one-roll bets that we just find it very silly to make a bet to get paid even money. It just doesn't compute very well. So there you go. Now the field is a self-service bet. You can place it anytime you want. It works all the time. Any roll, come out roll, in the middle of a point, does not matter. You put the bet down yourself. You keep track of the bet yourself. If there's 5 people playing the field, don't ask the dealer, is this my bet? Because aside from taking it or paying it, we don't pay a whole lot of attention to the field because, again, it is a self-service bet. It is up to the player to place their bet, and it is up to the player to take their money. We will pay it in the field. Then you better pick it up because we will even announce all goes on the field, or if it lays, it plays, whatever it may be. And then if nobody's picking up their bets, we move the dice. And if we pay somebody and they fail to pick it up after multiple warnings and the dice get thrown, well, you now have a $30 bet. Once the dice get thrown, you cannot say, oh, I forgot to pick it up. Sorry, it's a bet. We warned you. We said, pick up your bet. If it lays, it plays. All goes on the field. We say all kinds of things. So there you go. That is the expansion on the pass line bet and odds. Discussions on the don't pass. In the next video, maybe we'll just do some rolls with the pass and don't pass. And the field. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this is illuminating, enlightening, just plain interesting. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now. So, as I promised, I wanted to go over very briefly our upcoming attempts at a third test live stream. So what's happened so far? The first test live stream just flat didn't work. The problem that I had was was an equipment problem. I had an equipment problem in that the equipment that I was using to translate the camera into streamable video to the computer required a better USB port than the computer I was using at the time. So that one just flat failed because it would not translate into the computer. The computer would not pick it up, would not read it, so I wasn't able to live stream it. So then, as I was looking through, because I'm a little bit of a tech head, as I was looking through all of my other stuff, because I do have 4 laptops here and 3 computers, I did find one that actually did have the newer style USB port. Unfortunately, it was actually my oldest laptop, but I figured, what the heck, let me give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? And this time around, when I fired everything up, the video was actually translating onto the computer, so things were looking better. But then when I attempted to live stream, the computer was not powerful enough to be able to translate it and then upload it sufficiently. So it basically just uploaded a blank screen for the live stream. So what I am going to have to do is, and I'm already looking into all of my options, I'm going to upgrade my computer so I can add, a 7th, 8th computer to my household. And I'm going to go much, much higher, and I'm going to get a computer that is far more than I need for this, far, far, far more powerful than I need for this. That way, any future upgrades that I may do, the computer will be able to handle it. So unfortunately, this computer is going to cost me about 25% more, about 25% of what I've already laid out in all the equipment for this channel. So it wasn't something I could just instantly buy. I'm probably looking at Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So hopefully I have it within the next couple of weeks, and then I'll do another test live stream and see if I can go from there. So I will definitely do at least one weekly live stream on our Patreon because they're the ones that are really helping us get this computer. and the other equipment that I'm going to get, because I figure if I'm buying the computer, I might as well buy the most high-end capture cards and things along those lines, get everything as good as possible, and then hopefully eventually get a better microphone for you guys. So yeah, that's where we stand on the live stream. As soon as I have the computer and I do the test, which will be in a few weeks, like I said, got to order it in a week or two, then I have to wait for it to ship. Plus, we have probably the biggest event of the year coming up, the NFR National Finals Rodeo. So I'm basically working 2 weeks straight, as is my wife. So not going to have a whole lot of time. But once we get all that under control, then we'll figure out. There's been some schedule changes to myself, some schedule changes to my wife, and some upcoming schedule changes to my wife as well. So hopefully we can get all the scheduling figured out, so I know when I'll be able to live stream as well. My initial plan of Thursdays at 6 o'clock is already out the window. I'm at work at that point now. So we will get it all figured out, and we will let you guys know, I promise. And otherwise, I hope you guys have found this interesting, enlightening, illuminating, or at least just plain fun. And we will catch you guys next time. Bye now.